This is task 1E part 4, where you're asked to describe how each formula and function works, including every part of it. Basically, this is similar to a question where you'd be asked to annotate the formulae and functions. So an annotation of the formulae and functions is basically describing every single part of it that goes on. Now, you don't get marks for completing the formulae and functions just on their own, sadly. You have to go through a process of describing and explaining how that formula or function works. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at a couple of them: annual cost and pitch fee. Now, to get the annual cost showing, okay, when I did my screenshot, if you just double click on there, it will actually highlight certain parts of it. And if we just extend this, you can also see that we can go across. It's highlighted the band column because it's looking up data from that band column. If I don't want to include those first couple of columns, I can just leave those out by scrolling across, and then I can just do a screenshot of this area, right, which will help me to explain what is going on. Well, I know we've already got the information displayed, but the screenshot does just give that extra helpful explanation as you're going along. Now it says here, the annual cost needs to be looked up from the costs table. Okay, so the cost table you've already highlighted in 1B part 3, where you were labelling your named ranges. So we know where the cost table is. We've looked at that before. It's saying HLOOKUP can be used. So the idea of this is explaining what HLOOKUP does. HLOOKUP can be used to search. So it's used to search for the band. So it searches for band, which it finds in the band column, which is our named column, and you've got band column written there. And it searches for it in the costs table. And when it does that, it will know which column to use, because it will have found band A, band B, band C. Once that's done, we need to know which row is going to be used for the platinum, gold and silver. So this is what it's being explained here. It says the drop down box stores the values 1, 2 and 3 in the static type. Well, here's our static type, where we're making reference to that, for platinum, gold and silver. Now we're explaining why we need to add 1. As the type heading row is included in the lookup table, 1 needs to be added to the static type, because we've got to account for the fact that the heading row is there, and therefore platinum will be 2, gold will be 3 and silver will be 4, and that will determine the row to return. And then there's an explanation of what false means. Finally, we've then explained that we've replicated this down the column. Now for pitch fee, this is a very simple one, but I just wanted to explain this because you've got different formulas and functions, or in this case just formulae. In rows 2 to 5, okay, which is years 1 to 5, then you've got this one where it multiplies it by 10%, and then in rows 7 to 11, which is years 6 to 10, we multiply it by 8%, and then these ones are left blank, and we're explaining where we've done the replication as well. So you need to follow that same pattern for each of the formulae and functions.